Bom dia, and thank you for the invitation to address you today at the Ocean Connection Media Workshop in Rio de Janeiro. Ladies and gentlemen, the ocean's health is in trouble. By now, the symptoms should be evident to everyone. From unconscionable levels of pollution, we are witness to rampant destruction of marine resources and coastal ecosystems. From rising ocean temperatures and rising sea levels, we're measuring worsening trends of ocean acidification and deoxygenation around the world. The full implications of this health decline are not clear to us yet, but may well include the demise of coral, with everything that would entail for the ocean's ecosystem and human food security. It may well include significant changes to the patterns of ocean currents and the distribution of marine species. It could lead to the extinction or great diminishment of a multitude of species, including plankton and shellfish and vertebrates. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're sick, you go to the doctor for diagnosis and treatment. This is why we're turning to ocean science for the answers we need, and why the UN General Assembly has mandated the UN Decade of Ocean Science to run from 2021 to 2030, to map and observe and develop our capacity to reverse the decline in the ocean's health. We already know that the great enemy of a healthy ocean is the extent of our greenhouse gas emissions. Thanks to these atmosphere heating emissions, the ocean is becoming steadily warmer, so that the quantity of life-giving oxygen within it is dropping, and its waters are becoming more and more acidic. The scale of these changes will dictate the future of life in the ocean, and perhaps for the planet as a whole. Since only comprehensive application of science will allow us to measure, interpret, and forecast what that scale and its implications will be, the UN Decade is emerging as the time to deploy our best scientific processes, all necessary resources, and fearless political will to steer us away from impending tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, the UN Decade is part of the UN's consensually agreed plan to avert the worst of climate change and indeed ocean change. At the plan's center is the Paris Agreement on Climate and the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, underlaid by a rich mosaic of multilateral accords. In its totality, this plan embodies the global approach to governance and development that is so necessary for us all in these environmentally precarious times. With the magnitude of its coastal, riverine, and forest ecosystems, Brazil is uniquely placed to be a regional and global champion for both the UN Decade of Ocean Science and the Sustainable Development Goals. Brazilians have so much at stake when it comes to protecting the ocean. Think only of the place that marine produce has in your national cuisine, that the great majority of your trade is conducted over its waters, and that every second breath of oxygen you take comes from the ocean. As members of the media and communicators from across the country, you're the gatekeepers of quality information. It's through your work that most people across the country will learn about the ocean's troubles, what that means for them, and what it will take to put matters right. In short, you have a critical role to play in fomenting action to save the ocean. I urge you all to make the best of today's dialogue. I call on your professional engagement and sense of duty, both as Brazilians and as responsible residents of planet Earth, to do all you can to ensure your leaders, your communities, and individual citizens are properly informed to make the right decisions in the crucial decade to come. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is not between optimism and pessimism. It's between action and inaction. So let it be rightful action. I urge you all to leave this workshop as hard-nosed pragmatists with shoulders to the wheel of action. I urge you to create great journalism on this subject and to responsibly spread the facts of ocean and climate change, along with the plan that we have collectively formulated through the good offices of the United Nations. I thank you for your attention.